Hi everyone, welcome back to Sprinkle of Resin, where I share everything resin art, tips, tutorial, and of course the fails too. Yes. So today I'll be telling you about a really frustrating experience I had. I bought a new resin, measured it correctly, mixed it well, and still it didn't cure. I was honestly so confused. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened, what I learned, and what you can do if your resin ever refuses to cure. Alright, so I bought this new resin and hardener set. It's actually ratio 1:1, and it's actually, I think, the second or the third time I'll be using ratio 1:1. I always use 2:1. So I bought this new one and I measured correctly. Yes, I measured correctly and mixed it for, yeah, I mixed it up to 6 minutes, and I added my colors, poured it into the mold, and waited for 24 hours. But after 24 hours, my project was still soft, like it didn't cure. I said, okay, maybe I could leave it for another 24 hours, and I did. But my greatest surprise, it still didn't cure. So when I noticed that it didn't cure even after leaving it for 24 hours, I thought, okay, maybe I actually made a mistake. So I decided to try again. So for the second trial, I used the same measurements. I mixed again, but after all that, guess what? Yes, you guessed right. It still didn't cure. And that was when I knew that it wasn't just me. Something deeper was wrong. Yes, because for me to get another uncured project from this same reason means that something is definitely wrong. So I decided to check out the resin and hardener again. It was then that I realized that the hardener was a bit yellow than usual. Okay, why I say that it's the hardener was actually yellow than usual is because I've actually used a hardener that was a bit yellow but it's still cured. And I've also read that some brands are actually like that. Like some brands, their hardener is actually a bit yellow. But this one I used was not like that. And I also noticed that the smell was too strong also. And that got me suspicious too. At this point, I was already thinking of the money I used in purchasing this resin. Yes, because we all know that resin is quite expensive. Yes, resin is not cheap. So I was actually angry because losing this amount of resin is is quite a lot. So I decided to actually check what could be the problem. I decided to check online and see what others have to say about it. So now I'll be telling you some of the things I found out that will make your resin not to cure. So number one is your mixing time. So when you buy your resin, some brands actually write how many minutes you need to mix your resin. The one I used actually said 4 to 5 minutes, of which I did, and still it didn't cure. So I don't think this was my case. I don't think mine was that the mixing time was too short. So the number two reason that could make your resin not to cure is cold temperature. Yes. Every resin artist knows that resin and cold does not go hand in hand. Cold actually slows down the curing process, or in some cases it can actually stop it completely. So you have to make sure that wherever you keep your projects, make sure that the room is not cold or too hot. So the next reason is measuring by volume instead of weight, or measuring by weight instead of volume. You should know I think I'll have to talk about this one in a different video, yes, because it's actually a topic on its own, measuring by weight and measuring by volume. So I'll still talk about this one in a different topic, but it's actually one of the reasons why your reason your project may not cure. The fifth reason is contaminated mixing tools or modes. Before using your mixing cups, measuring cups, and your modes for your project, you have to check. You have to check them out, because even a little moisture on any of them can actually alter the chemical reaction of your resin. So you have to check your your tools very well, clean it very well before use. Then the last reason is old or expired resin or hardener. Over time, hardener especially can degrade. So when you buy your resin and hardener and you find out that it's very yellow or it has this strong smell, it might be that it has expired or it's bad. So if you don't want to experience an uncured project like I did, make sure to always inspect your resin and hardener before using them. Then also try to do a test batch before engaging in a full project. Make sure to store your resin properly. Store it away from sunlight and moisture too. Then make sure to measure by volume unless the your brand specifically says by weight. Then mix long enough. Yes, mix long enough. Make sure to mix for at least 5 minutes before pouring into the mold or before adding your pigments. Then lastly, whenever you make a new purchase and it doesn't work, just try to contact the seller or the manufacturer and you might be lucky to get a refund or a replacement. I hope this video helps you avoid the same resin heartbreak I experienced. Remember, resin is a little tricky at times, but with patience and the right information, your projects will always turn out beautifully. So, if you have ever had a resin project go wrong, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your story, and maybe it will help someone else too. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with any resin friend who needs it. Until next time, stay creative and thank you for watching.